Dave Cooper had 3 sacred rules for spacecraft maintenance. First, never trust a computer that beeps unprompted. Second, always carry a backup of your backup tools. And third, most importantly, never let anyone interrupt your morning coffee. The massive galactic empire fleet currently bearing down on Earth was about to break all 3 rules simultaneously. Warning, hostile forces detected in solar system. The computer console chirped with all the urgency of a bored retail worker announcing a cleanup in aisle 7. Dave ignored it, focusing instead on getting the perfect coffee to career ratio in his universe's okayest engineer mug somewhere above his maintenance bay in the orbital station. Alpha important people were probably having important meetings about humanity's impending doom. Dave had more pressing concerns, like the fact that some idiot had installed the new plasma coupling backward in airlock 6. He'd have to spend his entire morning fixing it. Warning. This is not a drill. All personnel report to emergency stations. Yea, Dave muttered, taking a long sip of his coffee. The universe can wait 5 minutes. The universe, as it turned out, had other plans. The maintenance bay door slid open with a hydraulic hiss that Dave had been meaning to fix for months. Commander Janet Rodriguez Stroh, in her perfectly pressed uniform, a stark contrast to Dave's coffee-stained jumpsuit. Cooper, why aren't you at your emergency station? Dave gestured vaguely at the surrounding machinery with his mug. This is my emergency station. Someone has to keep this tin can running, while everyone else runs around panicking. The largest alien fleet ever recorded just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Dave sat down his mug and picked up his tablet, scrolling through the morning's maintenance logs. And did anyone check if they're having technical difficulties? Because these logs show 17 critical systems failures in the last hour alone. And I'm pretty sure the aliens aren't responsible for someone jamming gum into the backup generator's ventilation shaft. The commander's face. Rened, this is serious. Cooper, the Galactic Empire has conquered half the known universe. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their warriors are legendary. Good for them. Dave finally looked up from his tablet. But can they fix a reverse polarized plasma coupling without electrocuting themselves? Because that's what I've got to deal with right now. As if on cue, the lights flickered. A distant boom echoed through the station, followed by the distinctive sound of failing electronics. Dave sighed, picked up his toolbox, and gave his rapidly cooling coffee a mournful look. See, this is exactly why I need my morning coffee uninterrupted. Now I've got to deal with both an alien invasion and whatever genius decided to route power through the secondary grid without checking the load capacity. Commander Rodriguez opened her mouth to respond, but another explosion cut her off. This one was closer, and definitely not caused by faulty wiring. Dave grabbed his mug, drained the last of his coffee, and reached for his favorite wrench. Fine. But when this is over, someone owes me a new coffee maker, the good kind this time. Got that cheap stuff from the commissary. Little did Dave know, as he trudged off to fix yet another crisis, that his bad M was about to become humanity's best chance for survival. The Empire had indeed sent their greatest warriors, but they were about to learn that no force in the universe was more unstoppable than a maintenance engineer with a caffeine deficit and a chip on his shoulder. The problem with alien invasions, Dave decided, was the timing. If super advanced civilizations were going to threaten Earth, they could at least have the decency to do it after basic maintenance was complete. Instead, he found himself wedged in a service duct trying to repair the station's communications array, while the most important military conference in human history happened somewhere above. Listen, he muttered to the mess of wires in front of him. I don't care what the manual says. You're going to connect to that port, and you're going to like it. The wires, in typical technology fashion, had other ideas. A spark shot out, singing his eyebrows. Dave's resulting creative string of technical terminology would have made a veteran engineer blush. He was halfway through explaining to the communications array exactly where it could stick its outdated firmware when his repair tablet crackled to life. Demands the immediate surrender of Earth and all human territories. A voice boomed through the tablet speakers. Dave frowned. That definitely was in the maintenance channel. He'd accidentally patched into the emergency command frequency. Before he could fix it, another voice responded. This one he recognized as General Thompson, Earth's highest-ranking military officer. And if we refuse, then we will demonstrate the true power of the Galactic Empire. Our warships carry weapons beyond your comprehension. Our warriors are trained in arts of combat. Your species cannot imagine we have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your resistance would be have you tried. Turning it off and on again. Dave interrupted, not looking up from his work. The silence that followed was absolute. Who dares mock the Empire's ultimatum? The alien voice demanded. Dave realized belatedly that he'd left his comm channel open. Oh, sorry about that. Don't mind me, just your friendly neighborhood maintenance engineer. Suggesting basic troubleshooting, before we jump straight to planetary annihilation. Cooper, General Thompson's voice cracked with equal parts anger and panic. Get off this channel. I'm just saying. Dave continued, wrestling with a particularly stubborn cable. If your super advanced weapons are anything like our systems, half of them probably need a reboot, and the other half are running on outdated drivers. The alien voice sputtered. Our technology is perfect. We have mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. Yea, so why can't I hear your ship's coolant system struggling from here? That whining noise in the background, classic sign of improperly maintained thermal regulators. But you haven't checked those in a while. Another silence. This one distinctly more uncertain. How can you hear that? 20 years of fixing everything that can break on a space station. That's how, and let me tell you, the more advanced the technology, the more spectacularly it fails when nobody bothers with basic maintenance. Dave finally got the cable, connected the communications array. Hum to life, displaying a holographic image of the command center above. He could now see the assembled human leaders staring slack-jawed at their monitors, while a particularly angry-looking alien face glowed from the main screen. The alien commander, at least Dave assumed it was the commander given the excessive amount of decorative armor, looked like someone had tried to cross a praying mantis with a chrome-plated coffee machine. You dare to question the superiority of our technology? Our fleet has never known defeat. First time for everything. Dave shrugged, using his wrench to adjust the hologram's focus. By the way, your image is flickering because you're trying to broadcast on frequency bands that haven't been properly aligned. But your whole command and control system is full of little issues like that. Probably got a lot of red warning lights you've been ignoring. The alien commander mandibles twitched. A subordinate whispered something in their ear. Their compound eyes widened. How did you know about the warning lights? Lucky guess. Look, if you want to invade Earth, that's your business. But do you really want to do it with ships that are one missed maintenance cycle away from a total systems failure? The assembled human leaders watched in astonishment as the mighty alien commander shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps we could delay the invasion just long enough to perform some routine diagnostics, probably for the best. Dave agreed. Your port thrusters are running hot too. I can hear the imbalance from here. The transmission cut off abruptly. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then General Thompson cleared his throat. Cooper, did you just prevent an alien invasion by criticizing their maintenance standards? Nah. Dave gathered his tools. Just delayed it until they realized I was bluffing about hearing their thrust masters, though that coolant system really did sound rough. Speaking of which, airlock 6 still needs fixing, and somebody still owes me a coffee. But as Dave turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of the gathered leaders huddling together, whispering excitedly. He didn't like the calculating looks they were giving him. He'd seen that expression before, usually right before someone volunteered him for an impossible repair job. Oh no, he muttered. No. He had a sinking feeling his day was about to get a lot worse. Absolutely not. Dave crossed his arms, staring down the collection of Earth's highest-ranking military and political leaders. I fix things. I don't do suicide missions. It's not a suicide mission. Commander Rodriguez insisted it's a tactical infiltration, right? And that plasma coupling installed itself backwards. Dave rolled his eyes. You want me to sneak aboard an alien warship? And what exactly? File a maintenance complaint. General Thompson spread his hands across the briefing room table. On the holographic display between them, the massive Empire flagship loomed. Our intelligence suggests their entire fleet is experiencing technical difficulties. Of course, nobody ever bothers with preventive maintenance until something explodes. Dave paused. Usually the expensive things, which is why we need you. A stern-faced admiral chimed in. Your earlier assessment of their systems was complete garbage. Dave interrupted. I was bluffing, making things up to buy time, like saying the printer's still warming up when you forgot to do your reports. The admiral's face suggested he'd never been late with a report in his life. Dave made a mental note to check the maintenance logs for the admiral's office printer. Nevertheless, General Thompson continued. It worked, and now we have an opportunity. Their fleet is holding position while they conduct repairs. If someone with your expertise could get aboard. Dave held up a hand. Stop right there, even if, and this is a massive if. I agreed to this insanity. How exactly do you expect me to get aboard an alien warship, Commander? Rodriguez smiled. It was not a reassuring smile. We've already arranged that the Empire has requested technical assistance. What apparently your comments about their maintenance standards sparked some internal debate. They've agreed to allow a human engineering consultant to inspect their systems to prove we were wrong about their technical capabilities. Of course, Dave stared at her. You're kidding. The Empire is very proud, the Admiral noted, and it seems somewhat insecure about their maintenance protocols. This is insane. Dave reached for his toolbox. I'm going back to airlock 6. At least it only tries to kill me in predictable ways. We're not giving you a choice, Cooper. General Thompson's voice hardened. This is a direct order. Dave laughed. I'm a civilian contractor. You can't order me to do anything. No, Commander. Rodriguez agreed, but we can reassign you to waste management duties permanently. Dave's eye twitched. You wouldn't try me. A tense silence filled the room. Dave looked from face to face, searching for any sign of sympathy. He found none. Finally, he sighed and patted his trusty multi-tool. What do you think? Betty feel like taking a field trip to save humanity? The tool, being an inanimate object, didn't respond, but its warm grip felt reassuring in his hand. Fine, he growled, but I have conditions. First, I want a year's supply of the good coffee, not that synthesized stuff from the commissary. Done. General Thompson nodded. Second, I wanted new maintenance bay, one with proper ventilation. This time agreed. And third, Dave's eyes narrowed. Someone has to tell me who installed that plasma coupling backwards. I need to know who to haunt if this goes wrong. Commander, Rodriguez coughed. That was actually Lieutenant Chen from engineering. Chen, the same Chen who tried to optimize the life support systems by turning off the unnecessary safety protocols. The same, right? Dave hefted his toolbox. When I get back, Chen and I are going to have a long chat about proper installation procedures, assuming, of course, I don't get vaporized by angry aliens first. The briefing room doors slid open, revealing a corridor leading to the docking bay. Through the station's windows, Dave could see the Empire's flagship, a massive structure that looked like someone had tried to build a Death Star but got bored halfway through and just stuck random engines on it. One last thing. Dave turned back to the assembled leaders. You did make sure our systems are compatible with theirs, right? You know, basic connection protocols, power adapters, that sort of thing. The sudden uncomfortable silence told him everything he needed to know. You idiots bought the cheap adapter, didn't you? More silence. Dave pinched the bridge of his nose. Give me an hour to grab my emergency kit. And somebody better start praying that the most advanced civilization in the galaxy still uses USB. As he walked out, he could have sworn he heard the Admiral whisper, "What's USB?" Some days, Dave reflected, it really didn't pay to get out of bed. Getting aboard the Empire's flagship was surprisingly easy. Getting anything done aboard it was proving to be a nightmare of bureaucratic proportions. Let me get this straight, Dave said, staring at the alien technician in front of him. The creature looked like someone had crossbreed a praying mantis with an office supplies catalog. You need 17 different forms filled out in triplicate before I can even look at your maintenance logs. Correct. The technician clicked its mandibles. Form X27B/6 for initial system access. Form TR135 for diagnostic permissions. Form right. Dave waved his hand dismissively. Quick question. What happens if something critical fails while we're waiting for the paperwork to clear? That would require Form EMG99 for emergency procedures, which must first be approved by a distant explosion. Rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed. Something that sounded expensive made a noise that expensive things should never make. Tell you what, Dave pulled out his tablet. How about we pretend I already filed Form whatever and I stop your antimatter containment field from failing? Because that's definitely what that sound is. The technician compound eyes darted between Dave and the increasingly urgent warning lights. But the procedure's another explosion, this one closer. Your choice. Dave shrugged, already walking toward the source of the noise. Procedures or survival, though I should warn you, containment failure paperwork is usually filed possum. He was door before the technician could respond. The Empire's engineering deck was a maze of gleaming corridors and unnecessarily dramatic lighting. Everything was chrome or black with red accent lights. that probably seemed threatening during design reviews, but just gave Dave a headache seriously. He muttered, consulting his tablet's hastily cobbled together interface with the alien systems. Would it kill them to install some proper work lights? Not everyone has compound eyes. His tablet beeped the universal sound of technology, saying, "You're not going to like this." The containment field's power supply was fluctuating wildly. Someone had tried to run a software update without checking system compatibility. Amateurs, Dave growled, ducking into a maintenance tunnel. The Empire might have conquered half the galaxy, but they clearly never heard of, "If it ain't broke, don't update it." He emerged into the containment field control room just as another alarm started blaring. 3 alien engineers were huddled around a console, chittering frantically. "Let me guess," Dave called out, making them jump. Everything was fine until someone clicked "update now" instead of "remind me later." The update was mandatory. One engineer protested. The system wouldn't stop asking. "Of course it wouldn't. That's how they get you." Dave shouldered past them, examining the console. "Nobody ever reads the compatibility notes. Did you at least back up your config files?" Blank stares. "Right, standard proc procedure across the galaxy. Ignore basic precautions, then panic when things go wrong." He pulled out Betty, his trusty multi-tool. "Move over. This is going to get messy." What followed was 15 minutes of creative problem solving that probably violated several laws of physics, and definitely violated the Empire's warranty agreements. Dave's running commentary on their system architecture drew increasingly worried looks from the alien engineers. "Your civilization conquered half the galaxy, but you can't format a drive properly. Look at this file structure. It's like someone let a random number generator design your operating system. The Great Archive says this is the most efficient." The Great Archive needs a lesson in basic debugging. Dave's fingers flew over the console. "You've got redundant systems for your redundant systems, but nobody thought to install a simple rollback function." Warning lights continued to flash. Something in the wall made a sound like a dying garbage disposal. "And another thing," Dave continued, now half buried in an access panel. "Who designs a quantum computer with only one physical off switch? That's just asking for trouble. Hand me that spanner." "No, the other one, the one that looks like it might violate the laws of thermodynamics." Just then heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. Dave's tablet flashed a new warning: "Security forces approaching." Apparently someone finally filed the proper form to report an unauthorized human messing with critical systems. "Almost got it." Dave made one final adjustment. The dying garbage disposal sound stopped. The warning lights faded. His tablet showed the containment field stabilizing. There was that so hard. He emerged from the access panel, covered in some substance he really hoped was just coolant. "Now who wants to explain to me why your quantum processing core is running on what looks suspiciously like Windows Vista?" The doors burst open. A squad of Empire warriors charged in, weapons raised. They looked like someone had taken standard issue stormtrooper armor and added unnecessary spikes to every surface. "Freeze. You are under arrest for unauthorized system access." Dave sighed, raising his hands. "Let me guess, you filed Form X27B/C. "No," the lead warrior growled. "Forks 27. SL7, the one specifically for arresting annoying human mechanics. At least someone around here knows their paperwork." Dave glanced at his tablet. The system update was still trying to install itself. "Quick question, though, did anyone file Form EMG99 before you interrupted emergency repairs?" The warriors looked at each other uncertainly. Dave's tablet beeped again. The containment field status changed from stable to initiating mandatory update. "Didn't think so." He dove back into the maintenance tunnel as chaos erupted behind him. "Some days," he muttered, crawling through the ship's innards, "I really miss airlock 6. The thing about maintenance tunnels, Dave had learned over the years, was that they were universal. Didn't matter if you were crawling through a human space station or an alien warship. They were all always too narrow, poorly lit, and filled with things that could kill you in creative ways. "Stop, in the name of the Empire." The shout echoed through the tunnels behind him. "Look," Dave called back, army crawling past a bundle of cables that hummed ominously. "I just want to finish my shift and go home. Can't we file this under routine maintenance and call it a day?" The answer came in the form of plasma bolt scorching the wall near his head. "Guess not." He pulled himself around a corner, consulting his tablet. The ship's maintenance system was now completely locked in update mode. Warning notifications scrolled past faster than he could read them. His tablet pinged another system, joining the cascade of failures. The Empire's mighty flagship was about to experience what Dave liked to call a comprehensive technical readjustment. Normal people called it everything breaking at once. More warriors joined the chase. Dave could hear them coordinating through the ship's communication system, which was impressive considering that system should have failed about 30 seconds ago. He reached a junction and paused. According to his tablet, left led to auxiliary control, right led to the main engine room, and straight ahead perfect. He grinned, pulling up the maintenance access logs. Time to give these boys a lesson in proper documentation. The warriors were getting closer. Dave could hear their armor clanking against the tunnel walls. He quickly typed a series of commands into his tablet, then pulled Betty from his toolkit. Sorry about this, he told the ship systems, but you really should have read the update terms and conditions. He wedged himself into a side passage just as the first warrior rounded the corner. Surrender, human. You face the Empire's elite guard. Dave didn't look up from his tablet. Quick question. Does elite guard training cover basic electrical safety? What? Because someone really should have filed a maintenance alert about that. Loose power coupling. You're about to step on. The warrior looked down the loose power coupling, which had been perfectly fine until Dave remotely triggered an emergency release. Sparked dramatically. What followed was a masterclass in why proper safety protocols exist. The power surge triggered the tunnel's emergency containment system, which activated the fire suppression grid, which interfered with the warriors' armor systems, which caused their weapons to go into safety lockdown. Dave almost felt bad for them. Almost. He waited until the warriors finished their impromptu light show, then emerged from his hiding spot. The elite guard lay scattered across the tunnel, their chrome armor smoking slightly. Don't worry. He stepped carefully over them. The emergency medical system should be here in about 3 minutes, unless it also needs updating, in which case, well, maybe file form EMG 99 next time. His tablet beeped again. The update cascade was spreading faster than expected. He needed to reach the main computer core before an armored hand grabbed his ankle. You, the lead warrior, growled, struggling to stand in his malfunctioning armor. You dare mock the Empire's might? Actually, Dave tried to shake free. I'm mocking your maintenance procedures. The Empire's might seems to be shocking itself just fine without my help. The warrior pulled himself up, towering over Dave. His armor sparked and crackled, but remained functional enough to be threatening. I'm Commander Vexor, personal guard to the Supreme Overlord himself. I have conquered worlds, defeated armies. I never filed a proper incident report. I bet. Dave checked his tablet. By the way, you might want to step back. Your armor is about to initiate emergency decontamination. Well, what? No, it's a fine mist sprayed from Commander Vexor, armor joints coating him in fire suppression foam. Dave took advantage of the distraction to sprint down the tunnel behind him. He heard the commander bellow orders. Through a mouthful of foam, the chase resumed. But now Dave had a destination in mind. The ship's main computer core was just ahead if he could reach it before the update finished. He burst into a massive chamber filled with swirling holographic displays and dramatically pulsing lights in the center. A crystalline structure hummed with enough power to level a small continent. Okay. Dave cracked his knuckles. Let's see how the mighty Empire handles a classic tech support solution. He pulled out Betty one last time, approached the computer core, and prepared to do what every IT professional throughout history had done. When faced with a catastrophic system failure, turn it off and back on again. Behind him, Commander Vexor and a fresh squad of warriors charged into the chamber, weapons raised, step away from the core. And Dave sighed. You know, all of this could have been avoided if someone had just read the maintenance manual. His hand reached for the power switch. In the history of the galaxy, many great battles had been decided by advanced weapons, brilliant strategies, or heroic sacrifices. This one, as Dave would later explain in his maintenance report, was decided by the universal constant that no one ever reads the error messages. Don't do it. Commander Vexor armor was still dripping with fire suppression foam. That core controls every system on this ship. Exactly. Dave's hand stayed on the power switch, which means it also controls your weapon's life support and artificial gravity. So maybe we should all take a deep breath and discuss proper shutdown procedures. The warrior shifted uncomfortably. Someone's armor made a sound like a wet cat in a garbage disposal. You wouldn't dare, Vexor growled. Even you cannot be that foolish. Dave smiled. It was the smile of someone who had spent 20 years explaining to people why they shouldn't store their coffee cups next to sensitive Electronics want to bet he checked his tablet one last time. By the way, has anyone noticed what your system's been trying to tell you for the last 10 minutes? The holographic displays around them were filled with warning messages, most notably up to critical, cannot cancel, incompatible systems. Detected. What did you do? The commander's mandibles clicked in alarm. Me nothing. This is all your own systems doing. I just Dave waved his free hand, vaguely helped it along a bit. You really should have installed those security patches. The crystal core's humming reached a fever pitch. More error messages appeared. Roll back, impossible, initiating total system reconfiguration. Last chance. Dave offered. I can stop this, but you'll have to fill out Forks 27-6 in triplicate. A junior warrior raised his hand. Actually, sir, for this type of situation, we'd need form. Silence. Vexor roared. No human maintenance worker can defeat the Empire's greatest warriors. Probably true, Dave agreed. Good thing I'm just here to fix your computer. He flipped the switch. The core went dark then, in what Dave would later describe as K-Mur. For every time someone ignored a critical update, every system on the ship tried to restart. At once the results were spectacular. Gravity reversed itself just long enough to drop everyone on the ceiling, then returned just in time to drop them on the floor. Emergency lights strobed through colors that probably weren't supposed to exist in this dimension. The ship's AI began reciting poetry in 17 different languages, none of them programmed into its database. And through it all, Dave watched the progress bar on his tablet tick upward. Installing update 1 of 479.62. When the chaos finally subsided, Dave found himself surrounded by warriors who were too busy trying to get their armor to stop playing ancient human disco music to point weapons at him, while Commander Vexor struggled to his feet as his helmet flashed different neon colors. What have you done? Standard emergency, shutdown, and restart. Dave shrugged. Not my fault. Your system decided to download several centuries worth of missed updates all at once, though you might want to clear your schedule. This could take a while. His tablet chimed cheerfully. Estimated time remaining 47 years, 3 months, 2 days, 6 hours. You've crippled the mighty Empire fleet and just forced you to finally do some proper maintenance. Dave packed up his tools, though you might want to warn the rest of your ships not to accept any automatic updates for a while. Could get messy. As if on-cue, reports began flooding in from other ships in the fleet. Each one was experiencing its own unique technical apocalypse as ancient update protocols awakened from their digital slumber. Now Dave turned to leave. If you'll excuse me, I have an airlock to fix back home. Oh, and you might want to file Form EMG 99. About all this, you know, for the records, the Empire's invasion fleet hung motionless in space, its mighty warships reduced to floating update progress bars. Dave hitched a ride back to Orbital Station Alpha on a maintenance shuttle, filed his report in triplicate, because some habits are universal, and finally returned to Airlock 6. The plasma coupling was still installed backward. Some things never change, he muttered, reaching for his tools. Betty, looks like we're working late again. As he worked, Dave could see the Empire ships through the airlock window, their running lights blinking in patterns that suspiciously resembled loading screens. Humanity celebrated their unlikely salvation, hailing Dave as a hero. They even gave him a medal, though he mainly used it as a coaster for his coffee mug. The Empire, after finally completing their updates several decades later, decided that maybe conquest wasn't worth the maintenance headache, and Dave, he got his new coffee maker, his properly ventilated maintenance bay, and a stern warning to never ever mention to anyone that he'd saved humanity by turning the galaxy's most advanced civilization off and on again, though he did make Lieutenant Chen attend a 6-course on proper plasma coupling installation. Twice some victories, after all, are better than medals.